Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Josh Ray, and today we're going to go through a brand new song from Vineyard Worship called Eden. You are our Eden. You are our paradise. This song is a really cool track and has a lot of moving parts, and I think that the studio version of this, has so many different elements that it can kind of feel a little hard to know where the access points are for something like an acoustic guitar. But the song is actually very, very simple. The chords are very approachable. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to break the song down and go through it in a way that I would typically approach it as a worship leader at a church, and kind of hopefully give you guys some places that you can hold on to. So let's jump right in. Okay, so Eden is in the key of G, and it starts off on the verses. And the verses are, and I'll call out the chords, a C, an E minor, and then a D. And if you're like me and you use Nashville number system, I call that out as a 4, a 6, and a 5. One thing I want to show you is a little bit of a variation on a couple of these chords. And the voicings are kind of important to some of the things that are happening. I'm going to add the 1 or the G on top of our C chord or our 4 chord, and that makes it a C/G. And you'll notice that by me adding this G note to the very low end of the chord, it fills out the chord a little bit. My E minor I'm going to keep the same, but then I'm going to take that same shape that we used for the C, and instead of playing my D or my 5 in this shape, I'm going to actually slide up a whole step. So 2 half steps. And I'm going to still keep my ring finger to hold down this low note, and I'm going to put the A at the very bottom of my D chord. So I'm playing a C shape, sliding up a whole step, and then pressing down on the A to give it this tone here. And this is known as a D triad, but we're putting the A in the bass. So it ends up sounding something like this. Only you turn deserts into gardens. So that's the verse. And I just would kind of maybe just do whole notes, or maybe I'd strum it out. Only you turn deserts into gardens. So something like that would probably work really well for the verses. Now let's look at the chorus. The chorus, again, it's really simple, but it has a couple little tiny movements in it that I think are kind of important. And one of the main movements is right at the very top of the chorus. We are doing a suspended chord, and then we're pulling off on the suspended chord. So the top of the chorus goes to the chord G, or if you do the number system, the 1 chord. But what it's doing is so our G chord would be this. And there's a few different ways that we can play this that give it different kind of voicings. What I like to do in this particular song is I like to put my finger down, and if you go down to the B string in the 1st fret, this is suspending the chord. And notice how it has a little bit of a different tonality. And what I like to do is we come to the top of the chorus, we're gonna go to, and you are our Eden. The vocal melody follows that, and so it just kind of adds like a nice little kind of finger flavor to add to follow the vocal melody a little bit by by pressing that suspended chord down. So, and then it just kind of follows the same chord shapes. We go to the E minor or the 6, and then the 4 chord. And this time on the 4 chord, I'm still pressing down on the G, giving the G bass there. So as it follows through the chorus, again, it's just following the melody. And then changes to the 6 or the E minor. And then it goes to the 4 with the G and the bass. So a C/G chord. And then goes back to the 1. But this time when it goes back to the 1, it doesn't have the suspended in there. So I hope that makes sense for the chorus. And then repeats the verse, and the verse is a half verse. Again, I'm doing the same chord shapes. Let's talk about the bridge. So the bridge has a little bit of an energy shift, and the guitar, I would probably straighten the guitar strums out here and really just kind of focus on the down beats. And I would still have these chords that would have a little bit more of the bass support in them. So again, if we're doing the 5 chord or the D, I'd probably still be playing the A at the very bottom of that, and then when we come to the 4 or the C chord, I'd probably still be putting the G in the bass. But there is one change, and in the recording you'll hear, as we come to the second part of the bridge, the piano is playing a 4 with a 6 in the bass. So it sounds like an E minor, but it has a bit of a major lift to it, a major feel. So the guitar kind of just stays the same, and I just wanted to point that out because if you're playing along with the recording, you're going to hear something shifting, but the guitar is actually staying in the same spot. So I'll kind of play and sing through it just so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea of how this might play out. But when that piano is going to the 6, or the 4 chord and the 6 bass, I'm not playing the G on my bottom there anymore because it just rubs and kind of sounds a little gross. So then the bridge, play it out, kind of goes like this. And you are inheritance and greater reward. You're the one our hearts are longing for. So notice how I'm not playing the G bass right there. I'm just kind of, I'm actually muting that E string. And you could let it ring out, but it gets kind of gross for me. So I prefer to just focus on the main triad of that. So it comes to the end of that. You're the one our hearts are longing for. Our Eden. And notice I'm landing right on that one suspended chord, or the G suspended. So I hope that this was helpful in giving you some access point to how to interpret the song Eden, the new song from Vineyard Worship, and being able to bring it into your churches. I find it to be a really powerful song with lots of beautiful imagery, and I hope you enjoy it too. Take care.